If political spin could solve our housing crisis, we'd be in safe hands. Australia's failed Home Affairs Minister Clare O'Neil is now Australia's Housing Minister. Oh, the irony. Why has Clare O'Neil failed? Because she delivered the biggest surge in net overseas migration in Australia's history and has delivered us the rental crisis. The Albanese government's first federal budget in October 2022 projected that Australia's net overseas migration would be 235,000 in both the 23 and 24 financial years. Instead, Australia received an unprecedented 980,000 net overseas migrants over the 2022 and 2023 calendar years, completely obliterating the federal government's projection. Clare O'Neil repeatedly attacked the former coalition government over its increase in temporary migrants, only to let the numbers explode to unprecedented levels under her watch. Check out the two charts above. Notice the curious correlation between temporary visa holders in Australia and Australia's capital city asking rents? That's right, Clare O'Neil delivered us the rental crisis. So why has our failed Home Affairs Minister been made the Minister for Housing? Why? Because she's great at political spin. According to the ABC, and I quote, "Housing is a portfolio that needed a strong communicator at a time when anger about housing is at record highs. The government believes the housing portfolio needs its strongest, sharpest public performer since the housing debate has been largely lost by Labor so far. In other words, Labor needs a political spin doctor. Clare O'Neil has already promised to deliver more supply. I quote, "I'm 43, but for people my age and very much anyone younger than me, this is often the defining issue in their life." Sure is, Claire. So why did you ramp immigration to record highs into a supply-constrained market? If only spin could solve Australia's housing crisis, then we'd be in a safe pair of hands. The ugly reality is that opening the floodgates to immigration is far easier than coaxing the private sector to build a volume of homes that has never been achieved before. Australia's dwelling completions record for a 12-month period was 223,500 in 2017, which is 7% less than Labor's 240,000 annual housing target, which Labor aims to achieve for 5 consecutive years. Good luck with that. Meanwhile, dwelling construction data from the ABS continues to worsen as the population continues to grow like a science experiment. Dwelling approvals, dwelling commencements, and dwelling completions are each tracking around decade lows at around 1/3 below Labor's housing target. As a result, a record gap has opened up between population demand and new supply, as illustrated clearly in the chart above. The task of achieving the Albanese government's housing targets is even more insurmountable when macroeconomic conditions are so hostile to home building. The official cash rate of 4.35% is the highest since 2011, and that is pressuring new home buyers and builders. Secondly, construction costs have increased by around 40% since the beginning of the pandemic. Third, the residential building industry is competing for scarce labour and materials with government big build infrastructure projects. And finally, nearly 3,000 construction firms collapsed last financial year, reducing capacity across the home building industry. But don't worry, folks, Albo for Marketing has put his best spin doctor on the job. There's nothing to see here. Move along. The inconvenient truth is that Australia will only ever address the housing shortage if the federal government slows population growth via immigration to a level that is below the nation's capacity to build housing infrastructure. However, the latest intergenerational report projected that net overseas migration would forever remain turbocharged at 235,000 a year into perpetuity. The intergenerational report also projected that Australia's population would swell by 13.5 million to 40.5 million in only 39 years. This level of population growth is akin to adding another Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane to Australia's current population of 27 million. This quantity of population growth will require the construction of around 5 million homes once you account for demolitions. Good luck with that. Anyway, thanks for watching again. Look, I'm quite sick of everybody, including the government, the industry, policymakers, etc., arguing that Australia's housing crisis is a supply problem. The reality is that Australia will never solve its housing shortage so long as it continues to grow the population at a far quicker rate than homes will ever be built. The number one solution to Australia's housing crisis is to cut immigration. It's as simple as that.